In the bustling city of Maplewood, where the rhythm of life never seemed to slow down, two individuals were about to cross paths in an unexpected way. Alex, a dedicated taxi driver in his late 30s, navigated the winding streets with both determination and hope. Each day, he balanced long hours behind the wheel with dreams of a better future, one where he could provide more than just a living for himself. He often envisioned opening his own garage, where cars could be repaired and lives could be improved one service at a time. Despite the challenges that came with his job, Alex held onto a deep-seated belief that kindness and hard work would eventually lead him to success. His days were filled with stories from passengers, each ride weaving a new narrative into the fabric of his life. It was during one of these rides that he would meet someone who could change everything. Dr. Sarah Thompson was a well-respected physician at Maplewood General Hospital, known for her tireless dedication to her patients and her commitment to public health. In her early 40s, Sarah wore her scrubs like armor against the challenges she faced daily. Long shifts in the emergency room, late-night calls, and emotionally charged decisions were all part of her life. Yet amidst this hectic routine, she found joy in healing others and an unwavering passion for serving her community. On this particular evening, after finishing yet another exhausting shift, Sarah flagged down Alex's bright yellow taxi as she stepped out of the hospital doors. With an air of fatigue mixed with relief, she slid into the back seat and greeted him with a warm smile. Little did they know that this brief encounter would set off a chain reaction neither had anticipated, one that would intertwine their lives in ways they could hardly imagine. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across Maplewood, Alex pulled up to the familiar curb outside Maplewood General Hospital. His day had been particularly slow, with only a handful of passengers, leaving him to reflect on his dreams as he waited. The sound of hurried footsteps caught his attention, and he saw Dr. Sarah exiting the hospital, her scrubs slightly wrinkled from a long shift. When she slid into the back seat of his cab, Alex turned around to greet her, noticing the subtle weariness etched on her face. "Long day at work?" he asked, attempting to empathize with her evident exhaustion. "Very," she replied with a soft smile that brightened her tired eyes. "But it comes with the territory. Helping others can be draining but rewarding." This simple statement resonated deeply with Alex. Both were striving to make a difference in their own ways. As they headed toward Sarah's home, their conversation flowed naturally. Alex listened intently as she recounted some of the challenges she faced in emergency care, lives hanging in the balance, critical decisions made in mere moments. Every story painted a vivid picture of her dedication and compassion. In turn, Alex shared snippets about his life as a taxi driver, humorous passenger encounters, late-night rides that could sometimes turn eerie, and his aspirations for starting a garage. Their connection grew stronger with each exchanged word. Sarah found comfort in Alex's humor and genuine interest in her experiences, while Alex admired her resilience and passion for her work. They both wore their hearts on their sleeves, allowing vulnerability to turn what began as an ordinary taxi ride into something more profound, a fleeting moment of shared humanity amidst their busy lives. Before they knew it, they had arrived at Sarah's destination. She hesitated for a moment before stepping out of the cab, looking back at Alex with gratitude shining through. "Thank you for this ride," she said earnestly. "You've really brightened my day." Little did either realize that this would mark just the beginning of an extraordinary chapter in their lives. As Dr. Sarah stepped out of Alex's taxi, a wave of gratitude washed over him. The sincerity in her voice lingered in his mind, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he wanted to do something more. With the COVID-19 pandemic weighing heavily on the healthcare community, he admired the sacrifices doctors like Sarah made daily. In that moment of reflection, Alex made a spontaneous decision. Just as she turned to leave, he called out, "Hold on a second, Dr. Thompson." She turned back, looking puzzled but intrigued. "I want you to take this ride for free," he said, his voice steady but warm. "I really appreciate what you do for our community. You deserve it." Surprised and touched by his gesture, Sarah hesitated for a moment. "Are you sure?" Her brow furrowed slightly as she considered the kindness behind his offer. Alex nodded, flashing a reassuring smile. "Absolutely. It's the least I can do." She felt her heart swell at this unexpected act of generosity. In a world often clouded by negativity and stress, Alex's simple gesture resonated deeply with her. It was rare to be reminded of humanity's capacity for kindness, especially from someone she had only just met. As she stepped back into the cab, their conversation continued to flow naturally, this time infused with an added layer of warmth and mutual respect. They shared laughter over the absurdity of some of their encounters. Sarah recounted tales from the ER while Alex talked about quirky passengers who filled his days with unexpected surprises. When they reached her apartment building again, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment in offering his support in a small, yet significant way. As Sarah thanked him once more before departing, a shared smile conveyed an unspoken understanding between them, a promise that even in difficult times, compassion could still forge connections and uplift spirits. The next day dawned with a sense of normalcy in Maplewood, but for Dr. Sarah Thompson, that tranquility was abruptly shattered by an unexpected phone call. As she prepared to head to the hospital for another demanding shift, her phone rang with an urgency that sent a chill down her spine. Glancing at the caller ID, she saw the name FBI flash across her screen. A mix of confusion and anxiety washed over her as she answered. "Dr. Thompson?" a stern voice greeted her. "We need to discuss something important regarding your recent ride with a taxi driver named Alex." The mention of Alex brought back memories of their enriching conversation, but she couldn't fathom how it could be connected to anything serious. "Is something wrong?" she asked, a knot forming in her stomach. "There's been some information indicating that this individual may be tied to an ongoing investigation," the agent explained calmly. "We'd like to ask you some questions about your interaction with him." Sarah felt her heart race as she listened to the agent relay details about drug trafficking activities linked to various taxi drivers in the area. The notion that Alex, a kind, hardworking man who had shown her nothing but respect, could be involved in such nefarious dealings made her head spin. "I don't believe he would be involved in anything illegal," she finished softly, doubt creeping into her thoughts. "Perhaps not," the agent replied, sensing her hesitation. "But any information you have about him or his conversations during your ride could be crucial." After ending the call, Sarah sat in stunned silence, grappling with what it all meant. She had sensed something special about Alex. He had embodied kindness in a challenging world. Yet now uncertainty loomed over them both. Her free ride gesture had unwittingly placed them at the center of a serious investigation. Determined to protect Alex, Sarah knew she had to find out more about this situation before they both became entangled in something much bigger than either had anticipated. As Sarah contemplated the FBI's inquiry into Alex, she began to piece together the reasons that might have drawn their attention. It appeared that Alex's taxi had been flagged during an operation aimed at dismantling a drug trafficking network that had been using local drivers as unknowing accomplices. While the vast majority of taxi drivers were law-abiding citizens, authorities had stumbled upon patterns suggesting that some drivers might inadvertently connect suspicious packages to their unsuspecting passengers. The agents had mentioned that Alex once had a minor run-in with the law several years ago, a misunderstanding involving a friend who was significantly involved in illicit activities. Though the charges had been dismissed, rumors and records often lingered, casting a shadow over his character. Because of this past incident, it appeared the FBI was considering him a potential suspect. Moreover, investigators had noted an uptick in activity around certain neighborhoods where Alex frequently picked up and dropped off passengers. Comprised of mixed-rent apartments that housed a diverse range of people, these areas had recently become hotspots for drug distribution. It became evident to Sarah that Alex's nightly routes might unintentionally expose him to shady dealings, complicating his otherwise unremarkable life as a taxi driver. While she found herself increasingly disturbed by what this meant for Alex, she also recognized the depth of his work ethic and the integrity he displayed throughout their conversation. The contrast between his demeanor and the allegations being floated by the FBI made it difficult for her to reconcile the two. Determined to clear his name, Sarah resolved to confront Alex about what she had learned and seek out any connections he may have made during their ride. She believed that there had to be more than met the eye, not just regarding Alex's character but also concerning the circumstances surrounding his taxi driving. The urgency of the situation pressed down on her. Time was not on their side as she braced for an impending storm. Determined to help Alex, Sarah reached out to the FBI agent who had called her, introducing herself and expressing her desire to assist in the investigation. The agent, sensing her genuine concern, agreed to meet with her at a local coffee shop where they could discuss the details further. As she sat across from the agent, Sarah felt a mix of anxiety and purpose. "I believe Alex is innocent," she stated firmly. "He's a hard-working man who has dedicated his life to supporting his family. I don't think he would be involved in anything illegal." The agent listened attentively, taking notes as she shared snippets of their conversation from the night they met. The agent explained that they were looking for any information that might clarify Alex's connection to suspicious activities. They needed details about his routes, passengers, or even odd behavior that might seem out of place. While Sarah understood their need for thoroughness, she felt uncomfortable turning Alex into a suspect based on circumstantial evidence. "I can try to recall any details from our ride," she offered, "but I know how easy it is for innocent people to get caught up in something much larger than themselves." As she spoke, the ethical dilemma tugged at her. Should she risk jeopardizing Alex's reputation by providing information about their conversation, or should she remain loyal and protect him? After their meeting, Sarah decided to take matters into her own hands. She began keeping track of Alex's shifts and routes when he was on duty, hoping to gather insights that might illuminate a clearer picture for the investigation. Each night after her shifts at the hospital, she would jot down observations, anything that seemed unusual or noteworthy. As days passed, Sarah found herself increasingly involved in this mystery. With each detail she uncovered about Alex's daily life, she became more convinced of his innocence. Yet fear lingered in the back of her mind. Every piece of information could either clear him or pull him further into suspicion. Her resolve strengthened. She was committed to helping him navigate an uncertain path while grappling with her own moral compass amidst the brewing storm. As Sarah delved deeper into her investigation, she found that collaboration with the FBI was essential. During her follow-up meeting with the agent, Special Agent Martinez, she proposed that they work together to gather evidence that could exonerate Alex. Martinez, impressed by Sarah's resourcefulness and tenacity, agreed to involve her as a crucial informant in their case. Their partnership blossomed quickly. Sarah utilized her medical background to bridge the gap between the FBI's requirements and her own findings. She began to gather information about patients in the hospital who frequently traveled by taxi and noted any connections they had with suspicious activities in their neighborhoods. Her ability to communicate effectively with both the FBI and her medical colleagues proved invaluable as she pieced together leads that might provide clarity about the mysterious circumstances surrounding Alex's situation. One afternoon, after several late nights of compiling routes and observations, Sarah met up with Agent Martinez and his team at a diner near the hospital. Over coffee and pancakes, they shared insights on their findings, unusual drop-off locations, profiles of passengers who seemed out of place, and snippets of conversations that stood out during her interactions with Alex. Martinez was impressed not only by Sarah's dedication but also by her keen analytical skills. As their investigation progressed, they devised a plan to discreetly monitor some of Alex's rides while he remained unaware of the scrutiny he was under. Each night after her shifts at the hospital, Sarah would report back to Martinez with her observations while helping strategize next steps to protect Alex without alarming him. Despite the mounting pressure from both sides, the urgency of clearing Alex's name while maintaining his trust, weaving through a moral labyrinth, Sarah felt emboldened. This alliance not only showcased her commitment to justice but also highlighted how ordinary lives could intersect in extraordinary ways. With each passing day, their team effort grew stronger as they raced against time, united by a common goal to unveil the truth and free Alex from the cloud of suspicion hanging over him. As Sarah and Agent Martinez continued their investigation, they began to uncover surprising connections that painted a more complex picture of Alex's life. One evening, after reviewing the passenger lists from ride-sharing apps and cross-referencing them with police reports, they stumbled upon a troubling link. A number of Alex's recent passengers had addresses associated with known drug distribution networks in Maplewood. Realizing the potential implication, they decided to dig deeper. On a night when Sarah rode alongside Alex under the pretense of wanting to experience the life of a taxi driver, she noted several strange drop-off points that matched those suspicious addresses. At one of these locations, they observed a swarm of activity outside a building known for its shady dealings. Sarah discreetly alerted Martinez, who coordinated with local law enforcement to monitor the area without alerting Alex. The investigation further revealed that an old acquaintance of Alex's, someone he hadn't seen in years, had recently resurfaced. This individual had a notorious reputation and was believed to be deeply entrenched in illegal activities. As they pieced together these revelations, it appeared that Alex's seemingly innocent interactions were being manipulated by this person to facilitate transactions, putting him at risk without his knowledge. Motivated by her growing concern for Alex, Sarah felt compelled to confront him about what she had learned. She needed to ensure that he understood the gravity of the situation without scaring him away or jeopardizing their budding friendship. Under the guise of discussing their previous rides and experiences, she delicately probed about his past connections and any unusual encounters he'd had with passengers. In doing so, Sarah discovered that Alex had been unaware of the true identities of some of his riders. While he had occasionally sensed something off about certain pickups, he dismissed his instincts as paranoia stemming from long hours on the job. This only amplified Sarah's resolve. She knew she had to protect him from becoming an unwitting pawn in a much larger game. With each new layer of evidence they uncovered, it became increasingly clear that innocent actions could have unforeseen consequences and, in Alex's case, tangled him within a web of criminal activity he never intended to be part of. Time was running short as they raced against the clock to gather enough information to clear his name before it was too late. As the investigation progressed, Sarah and Agent Martinez found themselves facing unexpected dangers. One evening, after a long day of gathering information, they received a tip-off about a planned drug deal at one of the locations Alex frequently visited. The urgency skyrocketed. They knew they had to act quickly to uncover the truth without putting Alex in harm's way. Equipped with surveillance equipment and a plan, Sarah and Martinez positioned themselves a few blocks away from the meeting point. The tension was palpable as they waited for the right moment to intervene. Sarah's heart raced as she thought about Alex and the precarious position he was in, unaware that his taxi was at the center of a dangerous web. Suddenly, a black SUV pulled up and several individuals, men with shifty eyes and tattoos that told stories of their own, exited. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as she recognized one of them as Alex's old acquaintance, the very person they suspected had manipulated him into this mess. She exchanged a quick glance with Martinez, who signaled for her to remain quiet. The situation escalated when one of the men started shouting, accusing another of messing up the transactions. The argument quickly turned violent and Sarah felt her stomach drop. In that moment, chaos erupted, shouts filled the air and fists started flying. Martinez swiftly dialed for backup while eyeing the scene with growing alarm. He knew they had to intervene before someone got seriously hurt. Just as Sarah's instinct kicked in, she spotted Alex's taxi approaching in the distance. Panic surged through her. He could unknowingly drive right into the unfolding chaos. Without thinking, she darted out into the street, waving her arms to get his attention. "Alex! Stop!" she yelled, her voice cutting through the turmoil. He slammed on his brakes, confusion etched across his face. In that instant, Sarah's bravery became an anchor for both of them. As Alex's eyes widened in realization, she rushed to explain the danger he was heading into. With the FBI's backup arriving just in time, they managed to apprehend the individuals involved before Alex could get drawn into the mess. However, this close call only heightened the stakes of their investigation. It became clear that they were not just unraveling a web of deception but also navigating real threats that could endanger their lives. As they regrouped after the chaos subsided, Sarah felt more determined than ever. Uncovering the truth might mean confronting dangers far beyond what she had anticipated. In the aftermath of the chaotic encounter, the dust began to settle on the investigation into Alex's life. With the timely intervention of local law enforcement, several individuals were apprehended, revealing the extent of their criminal activities and absolving Alex of any wrongdoing. After a thorough review of evidence and testimonies, the FBI officially cleared him, acknowledging that he had unwittingly become a pawn in a larger game orchestrated by those around him. Relief washed over Sarah when she received the call confirming Alex's exoneration. The weight she had carried through their investigation lifted as she realized the outcome could have been far worse. She felt immense gratitude for her partnership with Agent Martinez. Their collaboration had proven instrumental in uncovering the truth and navigating the complexities of the case. When Sarah finally met Alex again, she found him visibly shaken but grateful for her unwavering support. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice laced with relief. "You believed in me when no one else might have." "It was easy to believe in you," Sarah replied, her eyes reflecting sincerity. "You showed kindness when I needed it most. I just returned the favor." In that moment, the bond they had created transcended the chaos surrounding them, grounded in mutual respect and shared vulnerability. As they sat down for coffee, discussing the whirlwind of events that had unfolded, they both reflected on how interconnected their lives had become through an act of kindness. Moments earlier, they had been complete strangers. Now they shared a chapter that would forever alter their paths. While the storm had passed, both understood that its impact would shape their lives moving forward. Alex decided to take extra precautions regarding his passenger interactions, vowing to be more vigilant. For Sarah, the experience ignited a renewed passion for her career and highlighted the importance of compassion in medicine and everyday life. Through unexpected trials, they emerged not only as allies but as friends, each carrying a newfound understanding of the profound effects of kindness and courage. They ultimately realized that sometimes it is through helping others that we find clarity for ourselves, a valuable lesson forged in the fire of unforeseen circumstances. In the reflection that followed their harrowing experience, both Sarah and Alex grasped the profound lessons life had imparted upon them. They recognized that in a world often filled with suspicion and chaos, the simple gestures of compassion and understanding could ripple outwards in ways they had never imagined. What started as a chance encounter between a taxi driver and a doctor had forged an unlikely alliance, reminding them that help can emerge from the most unexpected places. As they shared a quiet moment at the cafe where it all began, Sarah looked at Alex, appreciating how kindness had woven their lives together amidst adversity. "You know," she said thoughtfully, "it's easy to lose faith in people when challenges arise. But this whole journey has shown me how important it is to trust one another." Alex nodded, recalling the anxiety and confusion he felt during the investigation. "I never expected someone would go out of their way to help me," he replied. "Your belief in me gave me strength when I needed it most." This sense of mutual support became a cornerstone of their bond, an understanding that they were not alone in their struggles and that friendship could be born from even the darkest circumstances. The complexities of their experiences reinforced an essential truth: vulnerability does not make one weak. Rather, it opens the door for connection and healing. As Alex contemplated his immediate future, he resolved to embrace his work with renewed vigilance and responsibility, recognizing the unseen challenges faced by others. Encouraged by Sarah's unwavering support, he also contemplated giving back to the community that had sustained him through tumult. For Sarah, the encounter ignited a desire to advocate for her patients holistically, recognizing each person's story and struggles beyond their ailments. She vowed to approach her work with deeper empathy, honoring the lessons learned from her time spent alongside Alex. In concluding this chapter of their lives, they emerged transformed, armed with a greater appreciation for humanity's innate capacity for kindness. The scars of their experiences would fade over time, but the lessons of trust, compassion, and unexpected friendships would linger, illuminating their paths as they moved forward into a world filled with both uncertainty and possibility.